Hello? Yeah, I really got here by accident, as it happens to be in 2018 at EMF camp. Me and my lovely friend Richard, we made this Trifid, which then turned into a business, and we now make lots of them and make big inflatable art installations that we tour. So through this progression from EMF camp and making things, it got worse and worse and escalated a little bit of how to get things from A to B. But really it starts with the main question: does it actually fit through the door? I mean, seriously, did you try? Very surprisingly, lots of doors don't quite deliver what they promise. This is UK specific, but there is this thing, it's called Part M. It's really exciting. It's Part M of the building regulations. Fans here, woo! It's supposed to promise you how wide your doors are. This is only valid for new dwellings and for public buildings who sometimes obey this. This will be a continuing theme. I'm not sure if you can see this on here. All doors are supposed to be 750 millimeters wide. Has anyone tried this? Because very often there's a door stopper. Here in this left image, for example, there's a door stopper just behind the door, which means the door handle obstructs an extra 8 centimeters of your width, so you can't fit 750 millimeters through the door. It could be as easy as unscrewing the door stopper. I can neither confirm nor deny I've done this in public buildings just to get something through the door, but sometimes it's really surprising. Luckily, this width usually also applies for things like elevators. So if you get it through the door, usually you get it into the elevator and onto other floors. Often works. But sometimes it can be quite surprising what happens if you enter a real building. This is going to be a domestic property, so something people live in. Say you've made something here in your lovely lounge in the middle. You can get it out the door. It's fine, right? But what if, say this has happened, we make a really long rocket in our lounge. My partner's somewhere here, sorry. Right, we head through to the hallway, and then we discover we can't actually get it round the corner. Yeah, okay, everything back, let's go back. Right, we go out the back. We go through the kitchen. That's even worse. All right, okay, what next? Let's try again. Okay, what's left? Let's just turn around. Let's go through the window. It fits. Yes, we're out. Sometimes the obvious solution to your problem isn't necessarily the door. Sometimes it's necessary to open a window or even take a window out. That can be easier than you think, depending on what you're up to. But it's really thinking about, when you've made something, how do I actually get it out of where I've made it? This has happened to many people who've made things in upstairs workshops or something, and it barely fits down the stairs, and you can't make the last corner, and then you're stuck on the stairs. It happens a lot. Right, you've made it outside. Now, how do you get it to where you want it to be? Obviously, you can carry it. But if you're a business, like we are, there's rules around what you can acceptably ask someone to do. This is from the UK government's health and safety directive. It's different for women and for men. But also, I don't know if you've tried carrying, what does this say, 25 kilograms for longer than 5 minutes. It gets really heavy. But say, sometimes that's an option. You can get lucky and make really light things. So, say, you make really big, giant inflatable robots that are mostly air, just some fabric. But then you need some ballast so they don't fly away. You can make all this fit in this estate car. It does work. It fits in. You can take 3 people. It's all good. And then you have a little think and go like, how much does this actually weigh? There's this thing in every car, that's this weight plate. It's really hard to read in here. I'll make it more obvious. This top label is added afterwards when we worked it out. There's this box down here that has these 4 numbers in that are a little bit confusing. So the first one in there is the gross vehicle mass. How much can the vehicle weigh? The next one is useless if you don't have a tow bar. It's how much can the whole thing with a trailer weigh? Then you've got 2 axle weights, the front axle and the back axle. Also, not really helpful. You're really only interested in the top one. So, how do you end up with this middle number? 1,275 kilograms. You have to look it up in your vehicle data sheet. It's not obvious in any way. Very often, even for commercial vehicle, it's not quite clear. You have to look it up, and then you end up with this payload of 582 kilograms. If you think about it, once you've taken 3 people, each, depending, let's say 100 kilograms, then you're left with 282 kilograms. If you've got 8 bags of sand and some other kit, suddenly you're very close to this maximum load. And that was really surprising to us, because it comes really quickly. Right, okay, what do we do next if we make bigger things? We get a bigger van. I really like them. I wish I had one. This was really designed for transporting 1 cubic meter. It's got a really wide door, you can fit it in. It's 1 meter wide, 1 meter tall. It works. And it can carry, I think initially, 1 ton. So that would be fine. But if you make bigger things, you need, again, the bigger van. And then you fill that van really badly. Don't do that. And then you make even bigger things because someone asked you to. Thank you. So you get something like this, which is the biggest vehicle anyone can drive with a normal driving license in the UK. It's really, really big. It will fit all your kit, but still, it can only take about 900 kilograms of payload, because you've added lots of extra bits and weight and the tail lift and a bigger engine. So you really don't get out of these constraints, which are always your volume and your weight. Surprising, right? So this installation is called Unfurl. We sat there and I was like, hang on a minute, how heavy is all of this? Turns out it was 925 kilograms. Great, we got away with it. But obviously, oh, you didn't see that one yet, sorry. You can't just throw all your white fabric in an empty luton and hope that it arrives in one piece. So we got to package our things somehow. Some projects, like these are shonkbots, really shonky robots. I don't think they even survive manually carrying them from one table to the next without intervention. Similar for, these are the two, the finalist and the winner of this year's EMF Camp Hebicon. They were also great, but there was a 30-second timeout for contact gluing some bits back on because it had fallen apart just before starting the last match. So you have to think about how do you actually transport your things. If you make your installation have a handle and run off of a Makita battery, you can just carry it around. If it has wheels, everyone can just wheel it around. Who hasn't seen World of Techno on site? Great, it's a good response. So you have to package it up in boxes somehow. There's some options. There's cardboard boxes. If you do this at outdoor events or at EMF camp, your cardboard box is going to be mush as soon as the night falls and it gets really wet. So one option is flight cases. Yay, who doesn't love a good flight case? They're usually made out of plywood. They have really strong corners, really strong latches and all of this. They usually have wheels. They come in all sorts of sizes. When you open them, there's lots of dividers and padding. They just have one problem. This flight case weighs 35 kilograms and contains about 40 kilograms of equipment. So suddenly you've doubled the weight you have to move around. But these are really useful if you have your own truck and you don't care about the weight or you take multiple trips and really want your thing to arrive in one piece. I have discovered that there's this thing called Euro crates. Who knows about Euro crates? 3 people, great. They're great. They're also gray. They come in all sorts of sizes. They fit nicely together. So more or less the biggest one is 800 by 600 millimeters. And then the next one is 600 by 400. Whoever paid attention, that means you can fit 2 on top of one bigger one, and so on. And that just keeps going. They come in different heights. You can just fit your things in. They even make bigger ones. You put it in. If you put 2 of these, 2 of the really big ones, or more, where the sizes come from is from the Euro pallets. 2 of these fit sideways in one European lorry, and it all makes sense and fits together, so you can put your things in Euro pallets. Once you have 6 big blowers that you have to move around, you then really have to get equipment to move your pallets around, because suddenly this pallet is 70 kilograms that you can't just lift on your own anymore. This is a pallet truck. You can lift the pallet up about 10 centimeters and move it around. After that, you kind of need forklifts to stack things. And then you've got all your installations nicely packaged up on pallets and can put them in shelves and stack them on top of each other, so you've got more space in your workshop. Yes, winning. However, your big luton still only takes 6 of those in volume, because you need lots of space at the end to even get them in and out. So you always have this problem of, if I'm moving this, how long does it take? If you do it with pallets, surprisingly you can fit this luton in about 10 minutes if you're efficient. I don't know how long it takes all of you to pack for EMF camp, but it took me definitely longer than 10 minutes. The The good thing about this is pallets are something that other people will move for you. You can just book pallet transport nationwide. It's relatively cheap. Someone comes and picks up your pallet and delivers it somewhere else in the UK for not that much money. The only thing is, they can be a little bit funny about how big your pallet is. You're not allowed to have it any bigger than whatever the sizes they want, usually 1.20 meters. If it's 1.30 meters, they go, oh, that's an oversized pallet, that's an extra 100 pounds. It's really annoying. Also, they make pallets in different sizes. There's so many nice standards to choose from. There's the Euro pallet, which personally I like. I'm from Germany, so. This other one, this international pallet, I think it's called here, is what the UK mostly uses. It's 1 meter by 1.20 meters. So it's 20 centimeters wider in one dimension. If you do anything with this, you have to look out for which one you choose. And then there's finally the Asia pallet, which is slightly smaller, but all of these fit differently in whatever transport you choose. So Euro pallets really fit really well in European lorries. And sorry, there's a pump truck out there, which is quite disturbing to me. Thanks. Well, once you've got more equipment and want to ship it further, you could think about either hiring a container. They again come in different sizes. There's 10-foot containers, 20-foot containers, and even 40-foot containers that you can put your pallets in, because internationally people will know how to handle pallets. The only thing about if you put your own installation in one of these containers and have it picked up, taken to a port, you're not going to see it for about 8 weeks. And then it turns up somewhere the other end of the world. It's great, it works. But also you have no control over where along the way this went. So it might be it went through the desert, it might be it went through really cold. So your things are going to be molten, wet, and frozen. All of the things. So for us, with our big inflatables, when we had to take them to Hong Kong, the only thing that was feasible, sadly, although quite bad for the environment, was doing air freight. It's about 10 times more expensive, but I'll tell you later. Aircraft fit these lovely containers, which again are a completely different size. And as you can see in this image, to make them fit, they have this annoying corner cut off. So really, what they do is, in the square section, they fit one pallet in and then stick the rest full of boxes. It works. These have a height limitation, which was really hard for me to find out. It's 1.63 meters. No one wanted to tell me for 6 weeks. I was like, tell me how much, how high is it, what fits? Until 2 weeks before, someone from the couriers called me and was, why can't you tell us how big your thing is? I said, because I've been asking, what's the restriction? Tell me. Well, they told me it's 1.60 meters. Turns out Euro crates stack exactly to 1.60 meters if you do it right. So we could pack all of our things in 4 pallets And 7 days later, after someone picked them up, they turn up in the middle of Hong Kong, in a square, so we can have our installation. That was basically flawless. It works. Yeah. Then there's the other thing that you always should consider. If you take something to somewhere, you have to pack it up too, and often send it back. A few years ago, at one of the CCC events, I helped set up this installation, which is Seidenstrasse, which was a pneumatic tube system in which you could send little capsules with shop vacs. That would be great with one of those big shop vacs out there, maybe a bit dirty, but which was 2 kilometers of drainage pipe. This drainage pipe arrived in lovely coils, 50-meter coils, nicely packaged, nicely packed. We put it all in the venue, and afterwards it looks more like this. And that's only half the pipe you saw in the first picture. Turns out all of this just about fitted in a big lorry that we could just drive around. It was quite annoying, but that was also again surprising to us because we hadn't thought about it. What I would like you to consider is think about the whole process from where you make your thing, how does it get out of your house, how do you get it there, how inside the venue do you move it around, is there a lift, does it fit through the doors, are you shipping it to an airport where there's very specific doors in airports because there's one company in the world who makes airport doors, so they're, I don't know, 68 centimeters wide or something. And that, all these little decisions along the way make it sometimes quite difficult. So if you make your thing 755 millimeters wide, it will not fit through most UK doors by 5 millimeters. If you make it 740 millimeters wide, it will fit through most UK doors. Just have a think about that. That's basically my short summary of how we get things around and from A to B. If you have any more questions, that's me. Hang on a second. That's me.